Good morning, everyone. My name is Ryan Bunce. I'm the IT manager here at the Michigan Catholic Conference. Welcome to our Open Enrollment 2020 webinar. If you're having trouble getting into the presentation part of the webinar, feel free to give us a call. Our number here is 800-395-5565. Ask to speak to somebody in the IT department. I wanted to do a little bit of housekeeping here to let you know how to use the webinar if you're new to the webinar series. If you've joined fully, you should be able to see this window that I have up on the screen. If not, be sure and call. And so I just wanted to cover how to use it a bit. So the first button you'll see down there is the chat button. It allows you to speak with other people that are in the webinar, and if you click on that, it'll bring up a window, and you can select whether or not to send a message to everyone or send it to a specific person. But primarily, we'll be using the Q&A feature. So if you have questions throughout the webinar, this is your way of communicating back to us so that we can answer your questions. If you click on that button, similar to the chat button, it will bring up a window where you can pose a question. We have a couple of moderators in the room with us today that will be answering your questions as the webinar proceeds. If there are any questions that we're unable to answer during the webinar, we'll save them to the end. And if they're the type of question that we can't answer at all during the webinar, we'll be sure and take note of your name and answer the question offline. So with that, I will turn the presentation over to Mary Beth Morgan. Go ahead.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us for the Open Enrollment 2020 webinar. I'm Mary Beth Morgan, Manager of the Employee Benefits Department. And as you already know, we've asked you to save the date for open enrollment, which is October 15th through the 31st, with the benefit changes effective January 1, 2020. During today's webinar, I'm going to be reviewing the open enrollment schedule, giving you a quick update on benefits for 2020, any changes that we've had, talk about the success of open enrollment, what, why, and when, what your responsibilities are as employers during open enrollment, reviewing how to enroll, going over the employer responsibilities, what happens after open enrollment, and then doing a Q&A session. So open enrollment success. The goal of open enrollment is to ensure employees receive the opportunity to review and update their benefit options to best meet their needs for the upcoming year. MCC, employers, and employees all play a role in the success of an open enrollment. And afterwards, we get to celebrate. So the schedule for open enrollment, we've already met the first two. We notified you of open enrollment on October 4th. We're holding the webinar today. And then tomorrow, we will be mailing out notices to the employee's home address that open enrollment is happening, along with a brochure outlining the items that we're talking about today. You will get a copy of these items in your email box tomorrow. Open enrollment, again, 15th through the 31st. Any documents that the employee needs to submit to MCC need to be turned in to us by the 8th of November. Towards the end of November, you will get the open enrollment change reports and benefit confirmations. Those will be available on Bookkeeper Self-Serve. You'll get a notice from us letting you know when they are available. Towards the end of December, employees will get any new ID cards if they made changes to their medical or vision plans. And then the benefits are effective January 1. Then the first pay in January is when any payroll deductions would change, and you would be responsible for that, if applicable. So open enrollment, what is it? Why is it? And again, when is it? So what is open enrollment? Open enrollment is the one time each year employees may change their benefit elections without a qualifying life event. Why do we have open enrollment? Open enrollment is required under our plans as well as by the IRS regulations. And when is open enrollment? You guessed it, October 15th through the 31st. So benefits for 2020. This is a quick update on what's changing. And the only thing that's changing is the Healthcare Flex Spending Account maximum is increasing to $2,700 per year. MCC is not added, removed, or changed any other benefit plan. So what can employees do during the open enrollment period? They can change medical plans. So if you have more than one medical option, they can change which option they wish to be enrolled in. They can enroll or disenroll in medical, dental, vision, optional life. They can enroll dependents who aren't previously enrolled or remove dependents who they haven't removed prior. And this is including LDAs, legally domiciled adults. They can enroll in flexible spending accounts, the healthcare and dependent care accounts. When will those changes become effective? Benefit changes during open enrollment will become effective January 1, 2020. Voluntary life benefits, the new enrollments, those may not become effective right away, and I'll talk about that a little later in the presentation. I also want to remind you that federal regulations require active enrollment in flexible spending accounts each year. So what are your responsibilities as an employer? Well, MCC asks that you inform your employees of the open enrollment dates. Yes, they're going to get a notice in the mail, but between your notice and our notice, hopefully they'll know when open enrollment takes place. We also ask that you communicate with your employees the benefit plans that you offer, since each unit has a different lineup of MCC benefits. Also, please let your employees know what their cost share amounts are for medical, dental, and vision. MCC doesn't have that information, so you'll need to be able to provide that to them. Make sure they know how to complete the annual enrollment process. Make sure you remind them that flexible spending accounts require an active enrollment each year. And let them know what happens if they fail to actively enroll. And we'll be going over these in a little more detail throughout the rest of the presentation. We also ask that you provide your employees with annual mandatory notices and obtain an annual salary reduction agreement from each employee. So what are those annual mandatory notices? These are notices that are required by law to provide to benefit eligible employees each and every year, and they include the Women's Healthcare and Cancer Rights Act, Newborns and Mothers Health Protection Act, and the HIPAA Notice of Special Enrollment Rights. All these forms are available on our website, and please make sure that each benefit eligible employee receives annual notices. So I talked about payroll deductions. The MCC Section 125 cafeteria plan is the plan that governs the pre-tax contributions for our medical, dental, and vision plans and the flexible spending accounts. It is a really good idea that you get an annual salary reduction agreement from each employee who's enrolled in any of these plans. This authorizes you to take the payroll deduction and goes over the rules of the MCC plan. We do recommend using our plan, and this is a form that is retained for your records. Please do not send to MCC. Again, the form is available on our website. So employees' responsibilities. So you're not the only one that has responsibilities during the open enrollment process. Employees should take some responsibility in knowing what their benefits are. So what are the benefit plans available to them? They should be taking an action to know what that is. And they should also find out how much they have to contribute to the plan. It isn't infrequent that we have an employee call after the first of the year saying, I didn't know how much this benefit was going to cost me. I can't afford it. Under the rules of Section 125, we really can't change that benefit option at that time. Also, employees should be reviewing their current benefit elections. They can go out onto employee self-serve or contact MCC, and we can go over that with them. So find out what they're currently enrolled in, who do they have enrolled, and then they need to think about, have they had any life changes that impact these benefit needs for next year? And lastly, elect benefits for 2020 by using employee self-serve or calling the MCC benefits team. And they need to do this by the end of the day on October 31st. How to enroll in benefits? Employees have two options to enroll in benefits with MCC. They can use the employee self-service, which is at www.micatholic.org/open enrollment. There's a link to the open enrollment process right on our website, so you can go right to that, link into it. It's really easy. And that website's available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. The site opens at 12 a.m. on October 15th and closes at 11:59 on October 31st. Employees are also welcome to contact the employee benefits team. We are ready to help anytime, Monday through Friday, 8:30 to 4:45 p.m. Eastern Time at 800-395-5565. But bear in mind, it's a busy time of year for us as we have a lot of people calling in. So have them leave a message and we'll call them back as soon as possible if they're not able to get through, or try out employee self-serve. And remind employees that they need to complete the enrollment process. They need to go through every benefit option if they're going to ESS and get to the end and complete that and have it show, it'll report back what they elected. They may even want to print out that page. If they just go into, say, medical and they change their benefit option and they don't go in and complete it, that change in medical option is not going to save and record and report back to MCC. And remember, employee enrollments must be completed by October 31st, 2019. If the employee is adding dependents or a legally domiciled adult, they need to make sure that they're providing the legal name of that dependent, the person's social security number, and date of birth. And then they need to provide some documents to MCC to prove that they are eligible dependents. For children, they should be providing a birth certificate, adoption documents, legal guardianship documents, something that proves that they're legally dependent on that employee. If they're adding a legally domiciled adult, we will need them to fill out the LDA certification form. Please bear in mind that MCC reserves the right to ask for additional documentation on the eligibility of that LDA. All these forms should be submitted to MCC no later than November 8th. They can send them through by uploading through employee self-serve. They can fax to MCC at 517-316-3690, or they can mail it. We ask that those forms not be sent via email because it contains confidential information unless they can send it through a secure email. I mentioned voluntary life earlier. So voluntary life, if an employee is enrolling in it for the first time during open enrollment and it's not their initial offering. So initial offering is when they first become benefit eligible or when your unit first starts offering voluntary life. If they didn't take it when it was initially offered, this is considered a late enrollment if they want to enroll, and it's going to require the employee to complete an evidence of insurability form that gets submitted to Unum. And Unum is our insurance carrier for the voluntary or optional life. That form is available on employee self-serve. There's a direct link. They just click on it, complete the form. It goes directly to Unum. So you don't see it, MCC doesn't see it, because it can contain protected health information that we really shouldn't have access to. So we really like them to use that method of completing. And then Unum has it and they can start looking at it immediately. The form is also available on our website if the employee chooses not to go through that, or we can email it to them. So Unum will go through the approval process, and they do reserve the right to deny if the person does not provide evidence of good health. So if they have a health condition that Unum does not want to insure, they can deny that, or they may get back hold of the employee and request additional information. So that approval for that voluntary life might not happen before January 1. You will be notified via the benefit change report on Bookkeeper Self-Serve when that employee, or if that employee's voluntary life has been approved and the amount. So the last thing that we want employees to look at, and part of their responsibility, is looking at beneficiary designations, making sure that their loved ones are provided for in case of their death. So during open enrollment, it's a really good time. You have their attention on all their benefits. So have them look at their beneficiary designations. Separate designations are required for life, voluntary life, lay employees retirement, and if they're in the 403B. Employees can check their beneficiary designations on employee self-serve, or they can contact the MCC benefits team and we can review that with them. For the 403B, we can't review that. That has to be done directly with Prudential. During the open enrollment window, employees can update life insurance beneficiaries directly on employee self-serve. Outside of the open enrollment process, they can do that by completing a form. The lay employees retirement beneficiary always has to be updated using the form, and that is available on our website in the benefits section under forms and documents. Our web address is there. That's available anytime. Beneficiary designations can be updated anytime during the plan year. This time is just a time that we like to remind people to take a look at it. We really don't like it when somebody passes away and their life insurance beneficiaries haven't been named, or retirement, they're vested in the retirement plan, there's a death benefit payable, and they haven't named a beneficiary. So this portion is really, really important for the employees to pay attention to. So what happens if the employee does not participate in open enrollment? They do nothing. While active enrollment is encouraged, it's not required. So their current benefits are going to roll forward and into the new year along with any enrolled dependents, except for flexible spending accounts. Remember, those require an active enrollment every year. No changes are going to be allowed after October 31st for 2020. And the only time during a plan year that benefits can be changed is if an employee has a qualified life event, and then the changes have to be consistent with that life event, and they have to be reported within 30 days of that event. Information on life events is available on our website. The other change that might impact your employees is if your unit has made any changes to the benefit plans that you offer. I went through the list and I don't think anybody made any significant changes that will affect any rollovers, but you might want to take a look at it. And again, that's part of your letting your employees know what benefits you offer. So post-enrollment, you have responsibilities following enrollment. In late November, you're going to receive an email from MCC letting you know that the benefit confirmation statements are ready. We ask that you print these off and distribute them to your employees. There will also be change reports that lets you know what benefit changes your employees have made so that you can update your payroll in December for the first pay in January as needed. And then the January invoice. When you get the January invoice, please make sure that you look at the invoice detail. And I know you all look at your detail every month, but January is particularly important because we want to make sure that everybody's on the same page with benefits that your employees have elected for the new year. So please review that. And if there's any discrepancies, please reach out to the MCC benefits team. In summary, open enrollment is October 15th through the 31st. Enrollment can be done on employee self-service or by calling the MCC benefits team. Flexible spending accounts require an active enrollment each year. Employees must submit required documents to us by November 8th. Reports and benefit confirmations will be available to you on BSS at the end of November. And the changes are going to go into effect on January 1, 2020. So questions? Do we have any questions that we need to review with the group, or?
One of the main questions we got was whether or not the presentation will be made available offline. And yes, indeed, we'll be posting it on our website under the webinar section. A recording of this will be available probably tomorrow.
Okay.
Will the change reports only show the changes that were made during October 15th to the 31st, or will the changes be highlighted? I think it'll just include.
It includes any changes that happen in that period. So that the change report is something you should be looking at, I would say monthly, because it's going to include the changes for open enrollment, but it's going to include changes for new hires, or if somebody contacted MCC with a life event change. So I would recommend that you get in the habit of looking at that change report monthly to make sure that the benefit payroll deductions are correct and you're aware of what's happening with your employees. I don't believe the changes are highlighted.
One, it says, where can we find a list of the benefits that are offered by the employer?
If you're unsure of what benefits you offer, we send out a reminder to you in April what those benefits are, but you can contact us and we can send you a list of the benefits that you offer.
I think,
Is that it?
Oh, we have one more. Can you expand on the new policies regarding the newly married couples receiving coverage?
Okay, I'm assuming you're referring to the legally domiciled adults. So this year, the LDA provision was amended so that the attainment of the LDA requirements, which is typically the one that causes the issues, is a 6-month residency. So once an LDA, which can be a spouse, a adult child, a parent, somebody who's sharing living expenses and residing with you, once an LDA attains the requirements to be qualified, that is a qualifying event. So once somebody's resided with somebody for 6 months, that, along with the other requirements of being adult, sharing expenses, is the time when a dependent can, or an LDA can be added. And they have 30 days from that. And in those circumstances, that's typically when we're going to be requiring some extra documentation saying, yeah, we need a little bit of proof here. So that was the change that happened previously. When somebody got married and they hadn't lived together, which they shouldn't be, they thought they could add a spouse at that time. Well, they can't, because we don't really recognize spouses per se. We recognize legally domiciled adults. And if they were to become an LDA in, say, or a spouse in August, they might have to wait 18 months before they could actually add the person without this amendment to the plan that allows that attainment of the LDA requirements. So I hope that makes that clear. Did that answer your question, I guess?
I think so.
Confirm. Go ahead.
We added the 403B in July, however, no one enrolled. Is this an appropriate time for employees to enroll in 403B?
403B can be enrolled in at any time during the year. There's no enrollment period for that. So employees can go in, contact Prudential either through their website or calling them and enroll in the plan anytime. They can change their deferral elections anytime. It's wide open. If an employee does make a change or enrolls in the 403B, please be aware that you will be notified. We will send you an email letting you know that you have an employee who's made a change, and you need to go out to BSS to find out who that person is or persons are that have made the change, and make sure you record that in your payroll system as soon as possible.
Those get sent out on Friday. I'll be sending those out today, actually.
Okay, so we have another one. Are 403B accounts only available through Prudential?
Yes.
Yes.
How do we know if we ever offered voluntary life? There have been staffing changes here over the years, so I'm not sure if we ever offered it before.
You can send us an email to the benefits mailbox or call us and we can look that up for you.
That's benefits@micatholic.org.
Thank you, Ryan.
Yep.
Who do we contact regarding changes to 403B, the Roth related option in particular?
If they're making a Roth election, again, elections should be made directly with Prudential. If an employee has made an election with you and they have not contacted Prudential, then Prudential doesn't have it on their records. That's why we ask that employees make their deferral elections directly with Prudential. If you have somebody who fills out a form, make sure that is sent to Prudential.
Is the 403B election available to all employees or just full-time employees?
It's available to all employees. If you have an employee who is not benefit eligible, they're under 20 hours, they need to be added manually to Prudential, so you can contact me and I can get that updated.
Should we tell employees to contact MCC for premium information regarding voluntary life insurance?
If they're enrolling in voluntary life insurance, they can do so through ESS and their premium will come up on ESS, or if they're enrolling with MCC, we can tell them what that is.
What is the contact number at Prudential, please?
Oh, golly,
On our
It's
website.
on our website.
it's on our website. I
Yep.
don't know that offhand.
To verify an HSA is available, but only through the PPO HD plan.
We do not offer a health savings account at this time. We only offer flexible spending accounts.
Do open enrollment deadlines also apply to vision and dental? If so, why does the dental benefit period run from July 1st through June 30th?
Yeah, the open enrollment applies to all benefits for the health and welfare benefits, medical, dental, vision, voluntary life, flexible spending accounts.
I'm still not clear. How is marriage not a qualifying life event for coverage?
Marriage is a qualifying life event and a spouse can be added, date of marriage, but only if they qualify as an LDA. So they have to meet the LDA qualifying events because we don't recognize spouses, we recognize legally domiciled adults. That provision was changed when the federal law went into effect that required all group plans to recognize same gender spouses, and a decision was made that we would be recognizing legally domiciled adults instead. But marriage does remain a qualifying event because that's required by law that we recognize it as an event.
If all of our employees have company email, can we cover our legal requirement of sending out the mandatory notices by emailing them out? Or do they need to be mailed?
Absolutely, you can send them through email. If you know that every employee has an email account that they have access to, then yes, you can send them out through email.
In order to claim life insurance on a spouse, do they need to be covered by an MCC sponsored health insurance plan?
I'm sorry, can you repeat the question?
In order to claim life insurance on a spouse,
Okay, we do not have spousal life insurance. If you're talking about the voluntary optional life benefit, there are some of you out there who might have employees who have a grandfathered spousal life coverage, but there are no new spouse life benefits or life insurance benefits offered.
Are 403B accounts only available through Prudential?
Yes.
I think we have, oh. here
Does
comes-
Prudential have a direct contact for MCC that we can work with?
You can contact the number that's on our website. If you're looking for training for the 403B, please contact the benefits team, and Isabel Hershey can coordinate training with Prudential to come out and talk about that.
Why does our dental benefit period run from July 1st to June 30th?
That's the way the plan's set up. It's goes with the fiscal year.
If an employee has a 403B with a different company, is it possible to deposit into that 403B account?
No. You should only be having contributions for the 403B goes to Prudential. The only ones that could possibly have a separate 403B is if they are a non-diocesan unit, but all units that are under the control of the diocese must, if they want to offer 403B, they would be offering the MCC 403B plan, and that is record kept by Prudential.
Are temp or seasonal employees able to enroll in 403B?
No. It's only, I said employees who are part-time could enroll, but temp and seasonal are not eligible. They're specifically excluded.
Somebody had put that they had missed much of the seminar or webinar. Is it recorded so I can hear the whole thing?
Yes, we are recording it and it'll be posted to our website under the webinar section. Should be by tomorrow. We also had a couple of questions as to whether we could have access directly to the slides instead of recording. I think if you email the benefits department, we can probably email you the presentation directly.
Definitely.
I read that voluntary life insurance can be taken with you when you leave employment. Do you know the term and do you know if the premium will change at that time?
Yes, that's called portability, and the voluntary life and the basic life both are portable for anybody under the age of 60. After that age, it's called conversion. If you convert a life insurance, it's quite a bit more expensive. The portability, the rates will change. And I believe there is a rate sheet out on the website. If not, if somebody wants to contact us, we can provide what the cost is. Bear in mind that while the plans are portable, they must be done within 30 days of the end of the benefit, which goes into the end of the month like all other benefits.
If an employee has an HSA through their spouse's employer, is it possible for the employee to deposit funds into said HSA?
No.
Well, I don't think the employee would have an HSA through the spouse's employer. So that leads me to believe the spouse is contributing at his employer
Right.
to his HSA and wanting to know if the employee can, and that is no.
Right.
Yeah.
Cannot.
Because the maximum for the year, you can only go up to the maximums.
Right. And we
don't offer HSA,
and
so-
we wouldn't want, yeah, we're not going to do an HSA, like a payroll deduction for that, for his plan or in spouse's plan.
Can we transfer a Roth IRA to Prudential?
It depends. Let's take that question offline, or possibly just have the person contact the Prudential directly and they'll be able to answer that question.
If an employee elects to de-enroll in dental, when do their benefits actually end if it runs through the fiscal year?
Their benefits end December 31st. If they choose to disenroll during open enrollment, their benefits end December 31st.
Okay. I don't see any other questions. I'll take another look. So I think we are all set.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. If you have any follow-up questions, hold on.
Okay, here it goes. It says, please be aware that our open enrollment period is earlier than most other companies and entities. Rates through the marketplace will not be available to November 1st. This makes comparability between spousal programs and our programs difficult. Is there a reason why our open enrollment occurs so early?
Well, open enrollment occurs that early, so we have time to process the changes and get the reports back out to you. What I recommend in this case is have the employee enroll in what they think they want. And then if things change and they have a change in their their spouse's coverage, or they go to the marketplace, we can treat that as a qualifying life event and make a change based on the qualifying life event. And that has to be reported to us within 30 days. So if they decide to go, or they don't have marketplace insurance now, and then they choose to go to that on January 1, they would just need to let us know, preferably before January 1, that they've had a gain of other coverage, and then we can make a change at that time. I hope that makes sense.
Okay, I think that answers all of our questions. Feel free to reach out to the benefits team if you have follow-up questions.
Definitely. You can email those to benefits@micatholic.org, or you can call us at 800-395-5565.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.